Hi, I'm Jen, and I am one of the staff to the Oregon Alliance to Prevent Suicide. And I am here today to show you how to both access and navigate the Alliance's project planner, also known as the YSIPP initiative tracker. The first thing that you're going to want to do if you want to be able to see this initiative tracker, the project planner, is to go to the Alliance's website. This can be found at OregonAllianceToPreventSuicide.org, and you can see that on your screen currently. You'll then want to hover over the policy tab, which can be found towards the top. Then hover over Youth Suicide Intervention and Prevention Plan. And this will pop up two different tabs, both YSIPP 2016-2020 and YSIPP 21-25. The YSIPP 2016-2020 is the first iteration of the plan. If you want to learn more about the current version, the current iteration, you just click on YSIPP 21-25. But for today, we're going to be focusing on this tab, the YSIPP 21-22 priority initiatives. So you'll click on that, which will take you to this page right here. This gives you both a link to the OHA Smart Sheet, which shows you all of the initiatives that they are tracking for this current fiscal year. And it will also give you a link to our project planner, which can be found by clicking on this blue bar. If you want a snapshot of the different initiatives that we're currently tracking for the fiscal year, then you can just scroll down, and the initiatives that we're tracking are organized by the committee that they were assigned to. So if you're really interested in the schools committee, you can then see that they have one YSIPP initiative that's been assigned to them for this fiscal year. Or transitions of care, you can see that they have this one that's been assigned to them for this fiscal year. But if you want more details, to see progress that's been made, any barriers that have been encountered, and what the specific tasks are for each of the initiatives to be accomplished, you click on this blue bar. When you do that, it will download an Excel document. You'll just click on that when it downloads, and then it will pop up this grid. It is a read-only version, so in order to see all of the information in there, you'll just click the Enable Editing button that pops up towards the top of your document, and that will allow you to expand all of the different rows that we'll be looking at in the future. So now that we have the project planner open, I'm going to go ahead and talk you through a little bit about how to navigate this document and how you can read it. The first column that we have on the left is our status column. We are using the same labels and color coding system that the Oregon Health Authority is using to track the progress of the initiatives that they're tracking for the current fiscal year. So if you want to see more about what the different colors and what the labels mean for these different statuses, you could click on the key tab, which can be found on the bottom, and that will pull up all of the different definitions and status keys in the color coding system. The only two statuses that we use that the Oregon Health Authority doesn't use are these two, and that's priority changed and needs follow-up. Everything else is the same language and color coding system as Oregon Health Authority, just to keep it all the same. The second column in B is the deadline column. These are the deadlines that either Alliance staff or Alliance committees or advisory groups gave themselves for when they want their specific initiatives or tasks completed. Date last updated, column C, is when staff or the committees last updated information on the specific task or initiative that you see. So this means that when we add notes in the progress column on the right, or when we've updated the status on the left, that is what this date correlates to. Then we have this task right here, the initiative task column. All of the gray boxes, the gray rows, are the initiatives. So these are the larger items. If you want to see the tasks that fall underneath them, you just click on the plus, which can be found on the left, which will expand the different rows. And then you can see the tasks that are associated with the different initiatives. We'll go into that in more detail in a little bit, but just to give you an idea about what that looks like. Then in column F is the committee or advisory group that the initiative was assigned to. Column G is our RASCI chart. So RASCI stands for responsible, accountable, support, consult, and inform. And then Oregon Health Authority added the AD, the add at the end. So now it reads RASCI add. for advocacy. So AD stands for advocacy. And in the column, this column for the different initiatives and tasks, you will see different names or groups that were given specific roles within the RASCI and what that looks like. Column H shows the initiative desired outcome. So this means what we hope to have happen once that initiative is complete. So things like, for example, with row 23, the Alliance will respond to OHA's HB 3090 resurvey project. What we hope to have happen when that's done is that there will be a committee work plan for ongoing monitoring of HB 3090 to ensure correct implementation of legislation. So that's that. Then we have column I, the task deliverable. These are only filled in for the task rows. So since right now we're only looking at the initiative level, there's nothing in there. So we'll go over that in more detail once I expand some of these initiatives. The last column is the notes in progress. And this gives you just different updates on the initiatives or tasks as it happens. We tend to update them once a quarter is when you will typically see updates for this. So as you can see, like March, and then June is another one that you'll see on some of the tasks, but that's typically when we update things. Okay, now we will take a closer look at some of these initiatives and what their specific tasks are to achieve the initiative. The first one that we will look at is in row 8, which is the Alliance will create a work plan for lethal means work that includes safe storage, collaboration between stakeholders, and policy recommendations. So like I said earlier, you just click on the plus. So because this is the second initiative, you just click on the second plus, and that expands all of the action items or the tasks. So now that the tasks are all expanded, you can see the task deliverable, which was previously blacked out because we were only looking at the initiative level. So examples of what some of these tasks are, we will look at row 10. So this one is in progress. The deadline is ongoing. It was last updated March 31st, 2022. And the task itself is that the advisory group teams will research areas of focus and find guest speakers to bring back to the larger group. Assigned to lethal means, I'm accountable, and then the chairs of the advisory are responsible. So Jonathan, Donna Marie, and Pam. We're looking at a task, so there's no initiative desired outcome. But the task deliverable for this specific item is that the advisory group will learn more about their specific areas of focus in order to make valuable recommendations for the requested work plan for lethal means work. There were updates in February and March. The most recent one in March was that the action was put on pause while the group completes their work plan. It's also ongoing because as we continue to learn more about the different areas that we're going to be focusing on in the lethal means advisory, we'll want to find subject matter experts that can come back to our advisory group and share their information and their knowledge with us. Another example task for this specific one is in row 14. So this one has been achieved. The deadline was May 31st, 2022. That was also the date that it was last updated. And the task itself was to submit the strategic plan to the executive committee for review and comments. Again, the lethal means is who it's assigned to. I am both accountable and responsible. And the hope about completing this task was that we would have a finalized strategic plan with recommendations for safe storage, collaboration, and policies. And then our notes in progress, the most recent one in June, was that the draft work plan was completed end of May and submitted to the executive to review during the June exec meeting. Draft work plan and presentation on the work plan was provided also during that meeting. Now we'll talk about this one, the yellow one in row 16, just because it's the first yellow one that we've come across so far. It's in action, but it's yellow, so it's a little bit behind schedule. The deadline was June 30th. That's also when it was last updated. And the task was to submit the strategic plan to OHA. So let's find out why it's yellow and why it's not green. So in June, the plan was finalized after it was presented to the executive. Executive will review the final plan during the July meeting as they have to approve the plan before it can be sent to OHA. So even though they've received a presentation, there wasn't an official vote on the plan, which means that the advisory group can't submit it to the Oregon Health Authority on behalf of the Alliance. So because we're going to miss our deadline, the current draft was sent to OHA, letting them know that it's a draft pending final approval from the executive. So that's why that one's in yellow. One other initiative that we will look at is this one right here, row 45. And the initiative is House Bill 2315 rulemaking process will include recommendations from the Oregon Health Authority defining continuing education opportunities that are applicable and relevant to meet the suicide prevention training requirements for relicensure. So I'll click on this one to expand the tasks. This was assigned to workforce. Oregon Health Authority is both accountable and responsible, whereas our workforce committee is providing support. Our desired outcome of the overall initiative is that House Bill 2315 rules are informed by the Alliance and align with best practice in suicide assessment, treatment, and management. So we'll look at row 47, this early action in yellow. The deadline is that it will begin after the RAC or the Rules Advisory Committee ends, and we last updated it June 30th. The task is to partner with professional behavioral health organizations, such as NASW and MACBO, to develop a plan to educate behavioral health workforce on requirements and help to develop recommendations for developmental levels of training. Again, it's been assigned to workforce, and it is accountable, but the committee is overall responsible. Our deliverable for completing this is that we will have recommendations and guidelines for professional behavioral health organizations on correct implementation of House Bill 2315. The most recent update is that the Rules Advisory Committee is paused while the Oregon Health Authority point person is on medical leave. However, Alliance staff and committee members worked on definitions and other behind the scene tasks while they're out, so that way the work is still moving forward. We won't know specifics around the rules or the definitions until after that RAC ends, which is why there's no specific deadline, because we just don't know when the RAC will be over. But once that's done, we should have a more solid deadline in place. The other task that we'll look at, the final one, is row 49. This one's green, early action, unknown deadline. It was last updated June 30th. And the task is to consider whether funding is needed to support training initiatives for the behavioral health workforce. Again, workforce is who it's assigned to. This time OHA is accountable, and the workforce is consulting, providing support, and advocating as needed. Our deliverable is that potential advocacy efforts to ask the legislature to provide funding for House Bill 2315 requirements. And then our most recent update is that Alliance staff and committee chairs working together outside of committee meetings to discuss potential next steps and different funding options, which will continue into the next quarter. So that is just a quick look at how this project planner is organized, the different things that you can find in it, and the type of information that you could gather. I'm not going to go into detail on this next tab, but I just want to let you know that you can also see our contract deliverables. And these are things that we're responsible to the Oregon Health Authority for. So if you ever want to see what the update is on some of those, you can look at this tab. Some of these contract deliverables match up with YSIPP initiatives that we're assigned. So we specifically state in like the notes in progress, see lines 32 to 37 of YSIPP initiatives for details, because we don't want to, there's no need to duplicate the wording when you can just refer back to the previous tab. So that is that. If you have any additional questions, comments, or concerns, please reach out to Annette or I. Our emails will be included along with the website and the link where you can find this project planner online with the video details. Thank you all so much for your time and for the work that you do, and I look forward to continue working with you.